I have a couple other things to comment about. I'm pleased that with the targeting of program payments with the $250,000 payment limit cap. I'm pleased that Secretary Vilsack has worked so hard at implementing country of origin labeling. I'm also concerned for some parts of the budget, including a $500,000 annual sales limit for direct payments, which does not reflect actual farm income. And I look forward to working with you on issues important to our ag communities and to fund priorities important to South Dakota. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Vilsack, for conducting an animal ID listening session in South Dakota. Are there any parts of the current plan you are absolutely committed to moving forward?
Senator, this is, among many issues, a very contentious and difficult one. It not only creates different attitudes in different parts of the country, it creates different attitudes within the livestock family generally. Poultry and pork having different views about it than cattle, and within the cattle industry, different views depending upon whether you graze on public lands or private lands or a combination. We have not completed the listening sessions, and so the candid answer to your question is I have not made any specific decisions relative to the program and improvements to the program because I want to give everyone an opportunity to have input. I will say that the reason why we are doing these listening sessions is because there has been concern expressed by some members of Congress about whether or not the investment that is being made today by the federal government, now in excess of $130 million, is money well spent. That concerns me from a market standpoint. A recent study suggested that one incident could cause the livestock industry as much as $13 billion in losses. We know one head of cattle coming across the border of Canada caused us significant problems with our cattle industry, which we still have yet to recover from in terms of our trading partners. And we also know that our trading partners are looking very closely at the safety and security systems that we have. There have been a number of concerns that have been raised, which I am sensitive to. One is the cost. Two is the technology, whether or not the government is going to address a specific technology or a multitude or range of technologies that could be used. Three, obviously, whether it's voluntary or mandatory. Four, who bears the cost. There is a significant difference between cattle, pork, and poultry in terms of the overall cost to the industry. And there are deep concerns about who gets the information, who uses it, how does it accessed, and whether the public through the media would have the capacity to, through freedom of information, access information. All of those issues, and I suspect a whole lot more, have been identified. As we look for improvements, we're going to have to think creatively and innovatively about.
Could you provide me with a timeline on all this to
Sure.
take place and when your decisions will be made?
Well, we expect and anticipate that it'll take another month to two to complete the listening sessions, and then hopefully not very long after that, we would be in a position to make some recommendations and suggestions to see what reaction we get. The one thing I don't want to have happen is I don't want this Congress to lose confidence in the system, not provide funding, and then send, I think, what would be a very poor message to our trading partners and would, I think, negatively potentially affect our trading opportunities.
Given your excellent dedication to the COOL program, how have you been working with the USTR to ensure COOL is implemented properly?
We've had very good conversations with Ambassador Kirk and his staff. We've had two face-to-face meetings between USDA staff and trade representative staff. I appreciate the working relationship that we've developed. Ambassador Kirk and I were friends before we had this opportunity in the administration, and we've built on that friendship. We continue to provide information and resources concerning COOL to the trade representatives so that there's a clear understanding and appreciation that we are committed to COOL. We are committed to following the intent of Congress as you all have outlined it. We do not think that what we have proposed or suggested or that what you all have passed is necessarily trade distorting. We think it's within the guidelines provided by the WTO. We know that our trading partners may have disagreements about that. Just one observation, a recent report suggested that livestock activities in Canada have been a bit more robust than they have in this country, which would suggest that perhaps cool isn't having the impact or effect that some might believe. We will continue to work with USTR, continue to work with our Canadian and Mexican friends to make sure that they fully understand what this is and, more importantly, what it isn't.
I have been an enthusiastic supporter of a cap on $250,000 for a payment limitation cap, but I'm concerned about the $500,000 gross sales limit approach for direct payments, also included in the budget. I want to point out that I'm in favor of the $250,000 cap, unlike some of my colleagues, but I am opposed to the sales revenue cap because it's a gross number and not net.
Well, Senator, in one respect, I guess the USDA can be congratulated for developing such a strong bipartisan reaction to this idea. When I was governor of Iowa, you often said that I would propose, but the legislature would perfect, and I suspect that that strategy is in play here.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you propose to have an offset for the change if we make it?
Well, Senator, we are pledged to working with you, with this committee, and with your counterpart in the House to make sure that this budget squares itself. We're committed to working with you. We're sure that we were sure of one thing when we proposed this budget, that you all wouldn't just say, well, this is great, all in favor say aye, that you would have a lot to say about this budget. We're committed to working with you. I think it is important for me to reemphasize the priorities that the President has and that I share. We think it is important for a multitude of reasons that we address aggressively child nutrition. We think it is important for a variety of reasons, not to mention national security and economic security, that we continue to invest in bioenergy and rural development. And we do believe that there are ways in which we can have a strong, adequate safety net, as perhaps you've suggested with the cap, that don't necessarily make it more difficult for people to survive. And we're committed to that set of priorities.